All right.
funny,
So
dude.
bananas have a lot of characters. Obviously, we got a couple in this room. Um, one thing I love about the bananas is not every guy on any team is going to be Shohei Ohtani, stud, like crazy numbers. Most guys are not going to have that experience in playing the game of baseball. Um, but I think there's a world where every player finds their role on the
Mm,
team though, and contributes to the overall team dynamic. You don't need 20 Shohei Otanis on a team. Like the best teams that have the most chemistry are the ones that like really get along in the clubhouse, where
everyone
everyone
knows
is their
everyone.
own character.
Yeah.
Not everyone's like the same guy. I feel like, in fact, I feel like when you get into pro ball, it's like the team chemistry is not great because you have a bunch of dudes that have always been the greatest player on their team, and you got a bunch of like dominant personalities, and then it just doesn't mesh, and everyone's playing for themselves. So it actually like works out being in a more a less professional environment. I feel like there's better team chemistry oftentimes. Um, what would you guys say to a parent who's like, or even a kid who's struggling to find their place on a team and maybe isn't the Shohei Ohtani type guy? How do you find a way to contribute to that team and still like and be yourself? You know?
Yeah, so I think like the kind of first thing that comes to mind is like the for youth sports that the coach is so important. And like you hear the phrase like everything starts at the top, but like at those young ages, like the culture that the coach sets, like how much fun you guys have like in practices and before the games and stuff, it actually has so much to do with what you're talking about when you're maybe not in the role or getting the playing time that you want. And I think like when you have a coach that is able to keep everyone engaged in spite of that, it becomes easier for you to find that role. So like maybe, you don't pitch every inning, you don't get every at bat if you're like a backup player. But as a coach, like I think there's a huge responsibility to make sure that all of your players feel like they're getting developed, they're getting seen, even if that doesn't always translate to at bats or innings on the mound. If you feel like you're part of the team because of what happens in practice and in pregame and off the field, it becomes so much easier for you as a player to kind of be like, hey, here's where I fit in. If it's not like the best pitcher, like the starting catcher, like the most home runs on the team, you still have that motivation because of how much fun and engaged you have in the off time from games, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
good.
that's a great point. I feel like you can't just create chemistry either. Like that's something that has to be like built, like yeah, and learned. So I feel like a huge part of like youth sports now is missing like that piece and that aspect of it of like having time to develop and be with like the same group. I feel like people just move around constantly left and right trying to, find the perfect fit or whatever it may be. But like a coach starting an environment of like healthy competition, fun engagement and stuff at practices and for the games, and it like it not being so just like grow or like reach the next level. It's like I feel like I never grew up playing like that. I had one travel ball team that I played with for a very long time until I finally got to an age where I was like actually being more competitive, and I joined a different one. So I only played for like two travel teams my entire life, and the majority of the reps that I got growing up playing were in the backyard playing wiffle ball with friends or family,
Yes,
and like
dude.
like that's where I learned to have fun and be creative and change rules and like be gritty and dive on concrete and gravel. It's just like that's where I learned to compete and have fun and like kind of learn like what I'm good at, what I'm not good at. Um, I don't know. Those things take time to develop, and I played like a lot of that this backyard ball growing up, yeah, and playing for one travel team and like really developing and seeing personalities and seeing like certain roles develop. Like me as a catcher, I tried a lot of things before. I was a shortstop, second base, third base, pitch. Loved doing all of it, but like at times I would find myself super bored, like in the infield, just like chewing on my glove. But like catching, I was like, dude, I'm calling every pitch, and I'm engaged with everything. Like I can be like my brain like it like scratches that itch in my brain much more than like playing anywhere else does. So like I don't know, this just takes time um to develop. So I don't know. I think you're right about the coach aspect of it. Like because that environment needs to be created first, and like the values need to be set first, and then I feel like roles can be found.
Yeah, dude, you brought up like such a good point when you're talking about like that one travel team that you played on growing up. You guys are always playing wiffle ball, you're doing all this stuff away from the field together. When I think about like youth travel baseball, like those long summers, I'm thinking about like the most clear memories are going to the pool with the team,
Mm.
going to like Dave and Buster's with the team. I remember like one summer specifically, we were playing and my dad was like one of the coaches. and our season ended. We lost our last game, and then we just stayed on that field and we hit for another like 3 or 4 hours until the sun went down. But it's like when that stuff happens like away from the field, I really think that's where a lot of the magic happens. And like with the Bananas, it's easy because like we all live here, and we travel so much from the hotels, and we have this like time when we can spend it together. And I think like I look at my dad as a coach. He coaches like varsity soccer. He always like has practices where like he'll have the team over to his house and he'll cook dinner, or they'll like skip practice and go get ice cream. And what you're saying, like that point about like playing wiffle ball and go to the pool, that's the magic about youth sports.